Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Calls for more action to support youth in Westmoreland. 14 homeless following fire in Cumberland. And later in sports, Reggae Girls assistant coach confident for a second friendly match against Mexico today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here are the details. A day after the police fatally shot 3 people, including a 15-year-old boy in Westmoreland, the custos for the parish is calling on justices of the peace to do more. He's urging JPs to help guide young people away from a life of crime. Crime may be trending downward in Westmoreland, but it continues to be under close scrutiny by the police. However, Custos of Westmoreland Reverend Hardley Perrin is concerned that a breakdown in society has led to more young people turning to a life of crime.
It seems as if that parenting has broken down and the responsibility of parenting has been shifted to the schools, and the schools are not properly equipped to deal with the whole matter of parenting. Insofar as they are unable, in some instances they have allowed the students to be on their own. In some instances they have said go home, when in such instances there's no home to go to.
He further pointed to yesterday's police shooting in Top Lincoln Grange Hill, where a 15-year-old student of Petersfield High was among those killed in an alleged shootout with lawmen.
From all indications so far, it appears that it is yet another case of youngsters being brought in by older men and forming into gangs. And as a result, they have lost their lives. 2 young men and an older young man shot by the police, one of whom was wanted by the police, at least one of them, and that is so regrettable.
The Custos is urging justices of the peace to increase their efforts and become more involved in guiding and supporting youth in the community.
I'm therefore appealing to all my justices of the peace across the parish for their greater involvement and participation in the lives of young people in the schools. It seems to me that we will have to literally impose ourselves in the school system so as to act as mentors and to assist the teachers in their molding and forming of the students so that we can have a better Jamaica.
To a TVJ News follow-up, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says he's not surprised at Sunday's break-in at the Area 1 Accident, Investigation and Reconstruction Unit in St. James. Thieves made off with a police vest, ballistic vest, and various uniforms, among other items.
Area 1 has a new office now, that's Fairview, so they're going to relocate most of the facilities out there. Costly, but it's more in keeping with what we expect for a police officer to operate from. So that kind of building, subject to that, and it is near to a very difficult area. What I talked to you a month ago. That never been broken before, but it can happen. I said they're moving out into a new facility, and people realize they're moving. It can happen. It is likely that kind of activity will take place, that transition period, unfortunately.
Dr. Chang is confident that the men will be caught.
If they use police involved, it's illegal, and if we catch them, we'll find them, and they'll be charged and treated appropriately. Not only that, it's not the first time you have had criminals parading in police gears. It's illegal, and I said we are in a better position where the police today apprehend them much faster.
To another TVJ News follow-up, the driver involved in Saturday's crash in St. Mary, which claimed the lives of 3 men, has died. The crash happened near the Cool Oasis gas station. Speeding and driver error were contributing factors. The deceased family is now getting counseling.
We found it fit as a community to reach out to the family where we had invited peer counsellors and counselors from grieving counsellors from the Jamaica Constabulary Force Chaplaincy Unit, also the churches within our community spanning from Aracobessa, Three Hills, Stewart Town and Ramble, schools as well. So we've had a wide cross sections of representation where counsellors came in and spoke to not only the immediate family members but community members, and trying to see how we can help them to cope with the tragedy. The family is grieving, the entire community is grieving, and of such we would have been close, I myself, to all the victims of the accident.
14 people, including 8 children, are now homeless after a fire destroyed their home on Cumberland Avenue in Spanish Town on Sunday. The family is now appealing for assistance. Debris from the 8-bedroom dwelling on Cumberland Avenue in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, now marks the site where a family of 14 once lived. 2 days after the fire, they remain in shock, compounded by the fact that they have nowhere to go. According to reports, the fire started sometime after 7 Sunday evening.
By the time if you clear the area, me get out, my bed and stuff. All the thing me can hear my friend a ball say, "Grass my don't go in the back, his cylinder go bust." And that's when me hear boosh. And me say, that's it.
I wasn't nearby, we around the road and me come around here for tell him because him never here. When me come around here now, me I look for him, but I be a fire. Be a fire, nobody no save nothing. Just the concrete structure here, so a few people see a few things, but nothing out there. Over here, sir, 5 adults. 5 adults live here, so. 5 adults live here, so some people live with them pitney, and some are adults, like cousin and brother and sister and something, and none of them no save nothing.
The fire brigade was alerted at about 7:59 p.m. and 1 unit was dispatched to the scene.
On the way there, based on the volume of smoke that was emitted in the atmosphere, they requested help and an additional unit was dispatched. On the arrival there, an 8-bedroom dwelling house constructed from board, concrete wall and slab roof was seen. It was engulfed in flames.
Unfortunately, the way it is set up, the lanes are small and it doesn't allow for the fire trucks to enter, and that sort of helped to delay the rescue or the attempt to put out the fire. We are going to have to look at a whole development plan for some sections of Spanish Town.
The fire eventually was brought under control. However, the family will need assistance to get back on their feet after the devastating fire.
People don't want back them bed and stuff like that. Them want back them documents. They want them pitney to go to school. Or them pitney to go to school. Them pitney need to go to school. Most of them run here need to go back to school. They lose their uniform, school bags, school shoes, everything they lose. Them go want them bed. Most of all, them go need the house because where them go put the bed.
Meanwhile, a fire victim who lost everything in a blaze in the area in March 2024 says he's still trying to recover.
The place have burned down and it's only 2 people or 3 people who get burned out have not received their grant money all now, up to now, and all person who wasn't living here get money, and I lost values over almost $300,000 in the building.
In light of the current dry season, the fire department has issued a warning to residents in the area to take extra precautions.
The conditions at this time, right across the St. Catherine division, is ripe for bushfires and other fires. So I am appealing to them to be careful how they burn rubbish, be careful of the discarded light, and take care when cooking and all of those things, because it is the current firefighting operation in the division is affected by the amount of calls that we have to respond to.
Phase 2 of the Desmond Mackenzie Transitional Center for the Homeless in downtown Kingston is 98% complete. The revelation was made during a tour of the facility on Friday. Carrie Ann Simpson reports.
More than happy. That's the sentiment of Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie during a tour of the transitional facility in honor of his name. The facility was opened in September 2022 as part of the government's overall program to deal with the growing homeless population in the corporate area.
We are almost 98% complete with the second phase of the facility, where an additional 60 spaces will be provided for male and female to put a further dent in the problems we have as it relates to the homeless population.
Mr. McKenzie says once phase 2 is complete, the next phase will be to furnish and officially open the facility. But the minister says he's not done.
I've been having discussions with His Worship the Mayor because there is need for an additional transitional facility in the corporate area. And when I do speak in the sectorial presentation in May, I will make further announcements as to the next step that the government will be making.
And turning to the issue of beautification, Mr. McKenzie says he is concerned about the practice of illegal dumping in the space. It's why he issued this warning.
The uglification of the facility by the illicit dumping is of concern. We have cleaned this almost every day, and you continue to find persons from outside the area driving up their rubbish and dispose of the rubbish there. We're going to be making some adjustments to the area to help to mitigate against the continuous dumping. But I'd also want to make an urgent, a public appeal to the owner of the facility to come and take charge of his property and to do what is necessary.
Carrie Simpson, TVJ News.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It's now time for the Business Minute.
A shortage of labor, crop disease, and adverse weather conditions are having a negative effect on Jamaican yam production and exports despite growing international demand. Data released by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization indicated that Jamaica was the top exporter of yam in 2020 when exports amounted to $33.4 million. The data further indicated that the value of these exports, particularly of Negro and yellow yam, jumped to $40.8 million in 2023, an increase of 16.5% when compared with the amount earned in 2022. And data released by JAMPRO indicates that there are currently 28,000 yam farmers in Jamaica. Further field, U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened China with an extra 50% tariff on goods imported into the U.S. if it does not withdraw its 34% counter tariff as global markets continue to fall. Beijing retaliated on Sunday following last week's decision by Trump to slap a 34% tax on Chinese imports as part of his Liberation Day that set a minimum 10% levy on nearly all of America's trading partners. In a social media post on Monday, Trump gave China until Tuesday to scrap its countermeasure or face the 50% tax. China's Commerce Ministry labeled the additional levy as a mistake on top of a mistake, saying it will never accept the blackmail nature of the U.S. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Carrie Simpson.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, at least 27 people died and over 150 were injured after a roof collapsed at the Jet Set nightclub in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic during a concert by singer Rupi Perez. Rescue teams are still searching for survivors and ambulances have made over 100 trips to the hospitals. The cause of the collapse is unknown. On the international scene, Harvard University has confirmed the State Department revoked visas of 3 of its international students and 2 recent graduates. The school sent out a letter saying it doesn't know why the visas were revoked. University officials made the discovery during a routine record review. They notified the impacted students and referred them to legal assistance. Their identities have not been made public. It comes as students at other universities are experiencing the same thing. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Antonia Atkinson.
We take another break. Sports is next.